What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today we've got another live fantasy football mock draft for you back on Yahoo with a 10-team half PPR mock. We will be drafting from the 6th overall position, so should be pretty interesting. And while we wait for this thing to kick off, a quick reminder, if you guys enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. Let us hear it in the comment section in terms of your thoughts, along with any other questions you guys might have. We will do our best to answer them all. And lastly, make sure to check out the 2022 ADP Fantasy Football Draft Guide, now available for purchase. Everything you could want at a great value. Top 150 overall player rankings in standard and PPR formats, individual player bios, tiers, projections, along with general fantasy advice. Again, details in the description. Check that out there. With that being said, this draft has kicked off. First, you see Jonathan Taylor. That makes sense. I would expect Austin Eckler to be the next guy up. Yes, that is in fact what we see. Now, I want to see how closely this follows the Yahoo rankings. And so far, 3 for 3, Jonathan Taylor, Austin Eckler, Cooper Kupp. Those have been the 3 highest ranked players. They've gone in that order. There goes our first kind of deviation, Christian McCaffrey at the 4th overall spot, even though it's only half-point PPR. I think that's a very, very good value. And now Najee Harris just went. So here, I think we are pretty much in a situation where we either go with Dalvin Cook or Derrick Henry. Honestly, I probably lean Dalvin Cook. I think he has a little bit higher upside as a pass catcher, so let's go with him there. Derrick Henry was the other name that I mentioned. And then if we wanted to get a little bit kind of out there, we probably would have gone Justin Jefferson. I was contemplating maybe if Cooper Kupp fell to us at that number 6 pick, then we go with Cooper Kupp. But ultimately, I just went with, I think, what's a little bit of a safer pick. That is Dalvin Cook at the running back position. So we've got that high-end top 5 running back 1. Feel good about it. And then the next couple of picks, pretty much what I mentioned, Derrick Henry, Justin Jefferson. Then you see Jamar Chase. So the top-end wide receivers, the top 3 guys are off the board. Joe Mixon just went. And, so far nothing too crazy. I'm intrigued what's going to be available to us in the 2nd round, what's going to be available to us afterwards. Stephon Diggs, Nick Chubb, Devontae Adams go. Right now, if I had it my way, probably looking at, DeAndre Swift, Aaron Jones. Travis Kelce is a little bit tempting. If we kind of just throw caution to the wind and go with a tight end in the 2nd round, I think it's a little bit too early because I think, there's a scenario I can see where Mark Andrews is available in the 3rd round, especially with how kind of far away he's ranked from Travis Kelce. So let's see what happens. You know what? I'm intrigued to see where those 2 tight ends go. I'm going to go with DeAndre Swift here. I'm going to get my, just next RB1. So we got Dalvin Cook. We've got DeAndre Swift. I've mentioned guys like Aaron Jones, guys like Alvin Kamara. I think once we get past like the Dalvin Cooks of the world, that next group of guys like DeAndre Swift, Alvin Kamara, Joe Mixon, Aaron Jones, they're all kind of in the same tier, if you will. So I don't think you can go wrong with any of them. They each have some question marks, and they each have respectively high upside. So, it's a matter of preference. I'm switching things up for the sake of, kind of looking at different scenarios. So our first 2 picks, just to recap, we went running back heavy, Dalvin Cook, DeAndre Swift, nothing too crazy so far in the 2nd round. If I had to nitpick, Javonte Williams being an early 2nd round selection, I don't like that. Then after our DeAndre Swift pick, you see CeeDee Lamb. Travis Kelce goes afterwards. So, we were kind of filling out that process to see where the 2 tight ends would go, Kelce and Mark Andrews. So Kelce goes 3 picks before the final pick in the 2nd round. Makes sense for the most part. Then you see Aaron Jones, Leonard Fournette, Alvin Kamara. Yeah, there was some stockpiled talent at the running back position that was still available. You saw it there. To be fair, I'd take all those guys ahead of Nick Chubb. Yes, I realize it's only half-point PPR, but all their upsides are higher due to their pass-catching ability, in my opinion. Alvin Kamara, if it wasn't for the looming suspension for however long that might be, he wouldn't be available this late. So, it's kind of high risk, high reward type of situation. If it's only 3 games, I think getting Alvin Kamara at that point is very, very good value. So now, I think we've gotten to the point where the guys that we're looking at are Mark Andrews, Keenan Allen. Saquon Barkley is pretty tempting, I'm not going to lie. Of course, he just gets drafted. And if Mark Andrews goes here, I'm going to smash the draft button on Keenan Allen, getting that wide receiver 1. So actually, Tyreek Hill goes. And, I mentioned Mark Andrews before in the second round alongside Travis Kelce. I think us getting Mark Andrews at this point in time, 10-team league, getting an advantage of the tight end position here, pretty good. So I'm going to kind of switch it up a little bit, going with Mark Andrews. And I think the fact that we got him, how many picks after Travis Kelce, even though I do have Kelce ranked higher. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 picks after Travis Kelce. That is a good value on Andrews. And I think, honestly, that's what you have to do with these 10-team leagues. You have to let the draft come to you. You have to realize that the pool of players is going to be a lot deeper. And so, get some of those positional advantages when you can and go from there. So now we're in a situation where, it's a little bit kind of iffy. I don't love some of these guys. Probably Terry McLaurin or Travis Etienne are the next highest guys on my list. We got to get at least one wide receiver. Since we've already got 2 running backs, I'm going to prioritize the wide receiver 1 position first. So we're getting Terry McLaurin. He's, no longer having issues with contract situations in Washington. So we get him. I didn't want to go quarterback this early. I'm not the biggest Jalen Waddle and Deontay Johnson fan this year specifically. And for that reason, I passed on them. Waddle has to contend with Tyreek. Deontay Johnson doesn't have Big Ben, who can't throw the ball deep anymore, so he just gets peppered with targets. So passing on both those guys, I think they're, a lot of them are going to regress. Elijah Mitchell, James Conner, Josh Jacobs, I'd rather have Travis Etienne ahead of both of them. So I was kind of maybe gambling that Etienne falls to us in the 5th round. Probably a long shot, but since I've already got Dalvin Cook and DeAndre Swift, I figured I could take the gamble. And, if he's not there, then we just take a very, very solid next wide receiver and build out our squad that way. We've already got Mark Andrews. So right now, my preference would be Travis Etienne. And then if we don't get him, I'd probably be looking at an Allen Robinson. So let's see what's taken place so far. After we went Mark Andrews in the 3rd round, you saw Keenan Allen, T. Higgins, Michael Pittman, so a run on wide receivers. Then David Montgomery, Cam Akers, Antonio Gibson, and Ezekiel. The fact that Ezekiel Elliott just fell to the 3rd pick in the 4th round is absolutely insane. That might be the best pick in this entire draft, honestly. I do believe that. I just don't. The guy's going to be, sure, he's not a top 3 guy maybe anymore. And, people are going crazy for Tony Pollard, but he's consistently gotten top 10 seasons. I think it's going to happen again, or right on the border of it, getting that in the 4th round. Tremendous, tremendous value. And let's not forget, he was playing hurt last season for the majority of the year. So I'm definitely higher on Ezekiel Elliott than most, it seems like. Now, here we're 1 pick away, folks. We're 1 pick away from Travis Etienne. I'm, holding my breath, praying that we can get him. But let's see what the chances are. Does this next team need running backs? They kind of do. But hey, they pass up on Etienne for another wide receiver. What are you doing? I will take Etienne as my 3rd running back all day long. I love that selection for us. And now if we can get Allen Robinson in the 6th round, oh, baby, I feel great about this draft. We have depth at the most important position, running back. We've got 3 very capable guys that can all finish in the top 12, I would say. We have got a top-notch tight end, and we have got high upside wide receivers. So now we are back on the board. We have our running back position taken care of. I mentioned Allen Robinson in the previous round if Travis Etienne wasn't available. So the fact that he's still here, an easy selection. And, I think this draft has kind of turned into one of those scenarios where I've just gone after guys that I really like. I maybe took a little bit of a gamble on Mark Andrews a little bit earlier than normal. But again, getting those positional advantages at tight end, at quarterback in smaller leagues, it does play a little bit more of a difference than in a 12-team or in a 14-team league, just because all these teams are going to be stacked. So they're all going to have really good running backs. They're all going to have really good wide receivers. And they're all, for the most part, going to have all really good quarterbacks because the quarterback position is super deep. Unless you're talking like the tier 1 guys, which kind of surprisingly, 2 names are still left. Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson have gone, but Patrick Mahomes and Kyler Murray are still there because of the auto pick situation that's kind of taken place here. I imagine that one of those quarterbacks will be selected. Yep, exactly with these next 2 picks. So there goes Patrick Mahomes. I will bet my house that Kyler Murray will be one of these next back-to-back picks. It is what it is. I said it before. Quarterback position, especially in 10-team leagues, is pretty deep. I'd probably pretty easily get a Matthew Stafford or a Derek Carr. Let's just look at the position right now very quickly. And let's see if Kyler Murray, if I was right. A.J. Dillon. Oh, Joe Burrow going ahead of Kyler Murray. Boy, oh boy, Yahoo is on something here. I don't know how you can have Joe Burrow ahead of Kyler Murray considering the rushing upside for Murray. But hey, that's just me. So we got 2 picks until our next turn. Normally, looking at the wide receivers, I would be targeting Bateman. I would be targeting Mooney, Michael Thomas. Yeah, those would be the 2 names that I target here, unless Kyler Murray drops to us. So right now, if Kyler Murray drops to us, hell, I'll take him in the 7th, at the end of the 7th round. To me, he's still a tier 1 quarterback. So, hey, I feel good about that. I think he's a safe play. So let's just roll with that. And I figured that there'd be a run on the quarterback and tight end position with some of these auto picks. There was. In fact, I think every single pick since then has been one of those 2 positions. They are Kyler. Okay. Well, we really benefited from these auto picks because the last 3 picks have been defenses. So we've gotten to the point where it might be time to start wrapping up this draft. But everything up until then, I think, was pretty spot on. So I'm not really apologizing for anything. I'm going to go with Rashad Bateman here. And that's honestly kind of the majority of our roster. Let's break it down. So Kyler Murray, a tier 1 quarterback. I like that. Wide receiver, we were able to build some depth, even though we kind of waited on the position. We got McLaurin, we got Allen Robinson, and then we just got Bateman. Yes, Bateman and Andrews both on the Ravens, but I think they're both top-tier passing options for Lamar Jackson. Then our running backs, awesome. Dalvin Cook, DeAndre Swift, and Travis Etienne. We've got a top-notch tight end in Andrews. So here, the last thing that we can do, I guess, is grab another wide receiver for some depth, for some diversity. Probably looking at Mooney, probably looking at Michael Thomas, and then we can wrap this thing up. I like the way this draft, kind of went. I'd give our team probably a B+, honestly, and it has the potential to be higher. I'll stay at a B or at a B+, though, because auto pick really went crazy in these next 2 rounds, and that's kind of affected the skill position pool and guys dropping that shouldn't be. So I will be honest with that in terms of, who's available and who shouldn't be available. But other than that, yeah, let me hear it in the comment section. Your thoughts, along with any questions you guys might have. I will do my best to answer them all. If you enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe, and then make sure to check out the 2022 ADP Fantasy Football Draft Guide, now available for purchase. Details in the description. And in the meantime, we will see you guys in future videos.